Welcome to the Summit 2020 by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. The Summit is a platform where businesses, designers, and pioneers share their perspectives on how to best create a circular economy, an economy that's regenerative by design. So design is at the center and at the heart of a circular economy. And today we'll dive a bit deeper into circular design as a way to create products, services, and systems for a circular economy. My name is Simon. I'm part of the Foundation Circular Design team, and I'm really delighted to have Hannah Jessie today with us to talk a bit more about her journey and how she has experienced circular design as part of a Student Design Awards. So really good to have you, Hannah, and I'm really looking forward to learn a bit more from your own experience. And maybe to start, let's first look at your journey and how you actually chose the Student Design Awards brief that focused on circular design. Can you share a bit more about how that was for you?
So how I decided the brief was when I read the Student Design Award briefs, I was really interested in picking a topic that was about impact on the environment. And when I read that this was about adapting the fashion industry, that really interested me because you don't think of fashion as the first thing when you think impact on the environment. So it just seems like a new perspective for me. So I was really interested in finding out more. And then that led me to find out about circular economy and design, which I'd not heard of before. The brief actually introduced me to circularity and the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. So it brought me here.
That's great. And can you tell us maybe a bit more about how the Student Design Awards were brought to your university and how students could learn about this opportunity in the first place?
Yeah, well, it was one of the modules at my university, and it was something that my tutors really recommended getting involved with because the RSA has great opportunities, and one of them was the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, who had influenced a few of the briefs this time. So yeah, we got to find out more about Ellen MacArthur through there.
Yes, and what was your initial learning or your initial kind of like impression of when you learned about this topic? So what were your questions? What were your maybe your challenges, or how was it initial learning about the topic of circular economy?
Well, when I looked it up, I was really inspired by it because my generation, we see so much of like the problems, especially regarding the environment. So it was just really refreshing to see a solution. And then going into circular design and economy more, it was really interesting to see a system that not only maintains waste, but aims to eliminate it in the first place. So that was so interesting to me, and it actually inspired how I produced my animation too. So, for example, things like my color choices, I decided I was going to be really conservative with it and only limit myself to a few colors. And then I ended up producing something that I never would have done in the first place. And it's kind of like, well, if I created something brand new from those limitations, and that's just me making an animation, imagine that same concept being applied to bigger industries. It's kind of like through these restrictions, we have an opportunity to make brand new things, probably for the better. So yeah, it's just really inspiring.
I mean, that's such an interesting point. You say that when we apply constraints, design constraints, it actually can lead to better solutions.
Definitely. I mean, we see from sometimes free reign to do whatever we want isn't such a good thing, because that's led us to where our world is now, which is quite a dangerous position. So I don't think limitations are a bad thing at all, because not only does it mean you're being conservative about how you're affecting the world around you, but also it makes you think in brand new ways. It makes you produce brand new things. So yeah, I think limitations are something that should really be embraced. Challenges are a good thing.
Yeah, that is great, and maybe that's actually a good moment just to look at your animation and to see how we have done that. So let's have a look at your video.
When we think about revolutionary fashion design, we might think about the first pair of jeans, the little black dress, an iconic pair of trainers. But changing fashion isn't just about creating beautiful garments. It's about creating a more beautiful system. Today, we know this system is harmful to our planet. To change that, we need the skill of designers. Not only to create the clothes themselves, but to help find new materials, to invent new business models that change the way we use and own clothing, to understand people's behaviours, and to find ways to make fashion a force for environmental and social good. We need designers who want to reach to the heart of a problem, not just make tweaks at the edges. Revolutionary design changes aesthetics, but more fundamentally, it shapes our economy and our society. The designers making fashion fit for a circular economy are today's revolutionaries, creative pioneers who will have a lasting influence not only on what we wear, but on how we live.
Yeah, so, well, it is really interesting to see how you applied those design principles in a way which we often apply to, let's say, physical products, right? Such as design out waste or keep materials in use. How you applied that to the visual design of the animation itself. So that was an interesting learning for myself. When it comes to your journey as I understand you're a student in the last year, when it comes to your journey, what are some of the hopes and dreams that you have around design and how could potentially the circular economy play into that?
Well, I hope for sure that the new generation of designers are bringing new concepts that are going to positively impact our world, not just creating new things for the sake of new things, but creating solutions to the problems we might have made previously. So I'm really excited to see what circular design is going to do, and I definitely think that it's something that my generation should absolutely be involved with.
And so that actually is a good launch into the next question, because what should circular design do in the first place? If you could give us some recommendations or some perspectives on what is needed from your point of view.
Yeah, well, circular design, circular systems, the most important thing is obviously about what's being produced. That means the actual products that they're making, but also the leftovers, the waste as well. So I think circular design is all about thinking really carefully about what you're doing and what you're using in the process of production.
Yeah, and we could see that in your video as well. When it comes to the challenges that you faced in your production of that video, can you mention a few of them? Like, what were some of the challenges along the journey?
Yeah, so some of the challenges were, as I said, with the color, I only used 4 colors throughout the entire thing, and I've never done that with my work before. So that was really interesting. So I was doing that to try and reflect restriction of materials. The plot line of the animation, you might have noticed that it starts where it begins. It ends where it begins. And that's again trying to reflect this idea of going in a circle and like ending up at the beginning again, with something brand new. Yeah.
I find that fascinating how you convey concept visually through that closing the loop in a way, or like this. I think there's something beautiful about the completion of a journey, right? And that of course can happen through a physical thing that we have around us, like where we see how it reincarnates into something new and how its components are maybe repaired, remanufactured, or transformed. But then again, like this role of visual design, which we don't always think about immediately, as a powerful means to express an idea. That's something that we can see very clearly in your video. So what would be your message besides like the importance of like understanding this concept of constraints and closing the loop? What would be your message to other students who might start a similar journey next year?
My message to other students would be to really think about what you're doing and what you're using, and thinking about how what you make will affect the world. I think it's so important for my generation to really consider that the world that's around us, because at the end of the day, it's our future that it's going to affect. So my message would be to students to definitely think about being circular in what you're doing. And it could literally apply to anything. But yeah.
Yeah, that's something that resonates. And for yourself, do you have already specific plans for the next year, or for the final year project, or for afterwards that you are sure about?
Yeah, if I'm being completely honest, I'm still thinking about it. But I have been looking into further projects that talk about adapting the fashion industry, and particularly with how it affects the environment. Things like looking at how fast fashion should not be a thing, and how we should try and change that. Yeah, so I'm really interested in looking more in particular at the fashion world and how it affects the environment.
Yeah, but I guess you had a very strong start, given that you looked at this for quite a while when you produced the animation. And that actually raised for me another question that many listeners might be interested in as well. Like, how do you find out about this topic, or like how do you find information? Because I can imagine that when you're new to the topic of circular economy and want to learn more about it, it can be quite daunting potentially, because it's a big topic, right? So how do you get started on that?
So I did lots of research online. I looked in particular at the Ellen MacArthur website, and also their social media pages as well. In addition to that, I looked at other projects that the Ellen MacArthur Foundation had applied to different parts. So obviously I was participating with the Make Fashion Circular campaign, but there's a whole range of different campaigns too. There's so much to explore, but that's the great thing about the internet. You can find whatever you want there. So yeah.
That is indeed like a good starting point, because essentially you can find free resources available. And I also enjoy to see that more and more designers are actually exchanging on these topics. So I don't know how the current situation is because of the coronavirus crisis, but typically I find that there's more and more exchange in the community around these briefs, around the challenges, and I think that's an important channel as well that I can see. So I hope that you will also be an inspiration for other students and a way of bouncing ideas and thoughts.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope so too.
Well, definitely, like the animation was really inspiring, and when we watched it, we were just like really impressed. So thanks for that impressive work, Hannah. And if you had like one more thing you would want to share with the audience, or with maybe with the foundation as well, like how we can really make a difference in the next years and on this important topic, what would it be?
I think I'd say that it's probably going to sound a little bit cheesy, but the world seems really harsh at the moment. It seems like all bad news, but there's always people that are trying really, really hard for change. There's always people that are trying to turn that negativity into positivity. And I think if you hop on board, the more people that do, the better it's going to be in the end of the day. I really think there are good things happening in the future, and the more people that aspire for change, the faster we'll get there.
Wow. What better way to end the conversation than this. This is just like I think nobody could have said it better. Well, thank you so much, Hannah. It was great to chat with you about this topic. I'm sure we'll hear more from you also in the coming months and years. Definitely like very impressive work. And thank you also for joining today's session. And I can encourage you as well to dial into the other sessions that are up on design, but also circular economy more broadly. You can find them. We have one with pioneers in circular design from a startup perspective, and then one from a more academia, university perspective as well. So those give different elements to what design can do for a circular economy. And it was great to have you here. Thank you very much. And if you have any other comments or topics, please join us on social media or on any of our circular design communities. Thank you.